Hello, greetings. Welcome to the Walkersville Christian Family School Review Orientation. Just a little bit of background. You've clicked onto this video because you're showing an interest in the Walkersville Christian Family Schools Review Program for homeschoolers. Review program is different from our regular academic program, and so I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to take you through a slide presentation, just sort of explaining to you the specific nature of the review program, the legal things behind it, and then I'll take you through the actual packet of information, making sure that you understand everything that you have to do in order to be enrolled. To begin with, Walkersville Christian Family Schools is a church-operated educational institution that has very specific meaning in Maryland law because only church-operated educational institutions are allowed to offer what we're calling umbrella services, umbrella program services. So the background for our plan, our program, is found in 1 Peter chapter 3. Who will harm you if you are zealous to do what is good? But if in your hearts you honor Christ as Lord, always being prepared to make a defense or to give an answer to anyone who asks you a reason for the hope that lies within you, but to do it with gentleness and respect. So the very nature of our program is to homeschool according to our Christian beliefs without the intrusion of the state, and at the same time giving an answer, giving evidence that our children are indeed receiving regular, thorough instruction as they ought. So to begin with, on the slideshow, give a little bit of background here. Maryland operates under the annotated code, which is what the General Assembly mandates, and it operates out of the COMAR regulation, which tells us specifically how each particular law that they've passed ought to be cared for. So the annotated code education law in 7-301 simply requires that every student in Maryland attend public schools. Then there's the exception clause, or to receive regular thorough instruction in the same subjects taught in public school. Now, that phrase, regular thorough instruction in the same subjects taught in public school, encompasses all non-public school applications: private schools, Christian schools, and homeschools. So that regulation then flips over. Maryland regulation, the COMAR regulation 13A, has some specific rules for home instruction by which we're going to be following. There has been a change, though. By May of 2016, Maryland upgraded the home education bylaw, and for the first time allowed a lot more latitude for parents who were going to be enrolled in umbrella programs. So the new definition removed the requirements that parents explicitly use, quote unquote, WCFS courses. And what that allowed for us to do is allowed for us to open up this brand new review program, meaning that if you do not want to be a part of our regular academic program, including receiving the transcripts, etc., we can perform the required portfolio reviews, and we've been able to offer it through a much reduced price for the sake of those who are just getting started or who don't choose to have the desire to have those services. Formerly, parents were exempt because they offered the quote-unquote Walkersville correspondence course, but now you demonstrate regular thorough instruction and doesn't necessarily have to be the specific correspondence course that we're offering. So that's a little bit of the background and why we're now, for the first time, offering review services for families who are not enrolled in our regular academic program. So what's changing? The law gives WCFS more latitude. Since the correspondence courses in the past validated instruction, academic records were required of a significant sort by which to maintain that documentation. So we no longer need to require that academic record documentation, and we can simply review student work, verify that regular thorough instruction is actually taking place, and as that's happening, then you are satisfying the law, and you do not have any specific need to provide transcripts, as it were, as it relates to the law. So now we're going to be offering this service, and hopefully in a simple way, and perhaps a way to get familiar with the Walkersville philosophy, and then eventually, as you see fit, to change over to the academic program. How we changed was primarily, there's 4 items on the chart here. The new regulation allowed us to validate instruction without maintaining an academic record. That's the big deal. Secondly, it allows for a 2-semester portfolio review. So we will visit with families enrolled in the review program twice a year. They'll come to our office, bring their portfolios with them. We'll review the academic work and validate that regular thorough instruction is being received, and then continue on from there. So a couple points here. We will provide academic records for those who are enrolled in our academic program, but the review services allows us to grant you a waiver in that area of academic records. So now WCF is offering 2 programs. One is called the Academy, where students maintain all their academic records according to the customary methods required by law. The WCF Academy enrollment will provide students with certified academic records as required by Maryland law. And I just want to say a quick word here with respects to customary methods of keeping transcripts. Maryland law is very specific and very regulated concerning student transcripts. There's a $1,000 fine for each student's record that's not taken care of in a proper fashion. And these records are intended to be used for a student to take and give to post-secondary institutions. And so the term customary method means most institutions that require such records, they expect it in a certain format and they expect it to be communicating a certain thing. And so our academic transcripts are very particular in how we collect and retain and verify that information. Again, the review program will not be offering the academic transcripts. Tier 2, the WCF review program, will be validating regular thorough instruction in accordance with the compulsory attendance laws of Maryland by the means of the 4 components of the review required by law. So customary academic records will not be available to students registered under the academic review program, and the certificate of instruction that we might give you, we can provide that certificate where needed that your child has been receiving regular thorough instruction, but it will be without the validation of what the student actually accomplished, grade, credits, etc. Just a quick note about academic records, just so you understand. An academic record, a record of instruction, does not certify that your child learned anything. In other words, regular thorough instruction occurs, your child is a part of that. How much your child learns is not regulated by law. So attending school or receiving instruction is what the law says. The law requires the student to receive instruction, that learning while receiving instruction is a different matter. Learning can be certified if the quality of course, content, and achievement can be shown, and transcript certification is provided through WCFS Academy, but not WCFS Review. So who needs transcripts? That's a good question. There's a lot of homeschoolers who feel like they can produce their own record, and many have done so and done so successfully. Usually the permanent student record has the capacity, when it's a third-party transcript, it has the capacity to compete in arenas where you need that third-party validation. So whether there's a scholarship taking place or whether there's specific competition in terms of college entrance at upper level academies or what have you, the transcripts are able to validate from a third-party review what actually was taking place. And that validation, for example, the United States military, if you take a GED, which is what self-provided transcripts equivalent to, a GED, actually sometimes places don't accept your transcripts without a GED, but GED is considered Tier 2, and our program, our academy program, is a Tier 1, meaning that if you're enrolled in our program and receive a transcript, then you can go into the military, as it were, directly because you're a Tier 1 academy. You attended a Tier 1 academy. And lastly, no law requires you to have academic transcripts. The law just requires that you receive regular and thorough instruction and that you can verify that. So the validation of your instruction occurs under Maryland regulation with 4 primary components: attending conferences, This orientation conference is one of the conferences in our program. We have a fall conference and also a mid-year conference. All of these conferences are available to you in the review program by live stream. And the application, we will go over that really briefly in a minute, but making sure that you've made application and sent in your proper forms, and those are listed on the screen as well. And then allow the 2 supervisory visits to occur, the portfolio reviews, and to attend other conferences that we offer. And again, those conferences are available through live streaming for those enrolled in our program. If there is a problem with your home instruction program, in other words, regular thorough instruction seems to be lacking, then we will give you a written notice of what's needing to be corrected, and we'll ask that you create a plan to resolve that, and then in 30 days we'll check back up on that. Of course, the goal is to keep you on track, not to be punitive, but if you do not correct your program in the 30-day period, then your child is labeled, according to the law, as absent or having irregular attendance without lawful excuse. And if that becomes the case, we'll have to withdraw you from the program and turn your case over to the county, which may prevent you from homeschooling in the future. Correcting your deficient instruction will be done simply by submitting an approved plan. We encourage you to keep in touch with us, call us. There is a fee for following up on a particular course, or a set of courses not exceeding $50 fee. It's the failure to resolve these matters that become the only means by which the regular thorough instruction can be questioned. So that's the end of that particular slideshow, and what I want to go over now quickly in the remaining minutes is just to recap the application process and make sure that you understand what's going on. First of all, in your application there is a page that illustrates the differences between what the review program offers and the things that the regular program provides. I'll review them really quickly here. The regular academy provides pre-registration conference, course registration and approval, periodic conferences, live stream events, and in-office portfolio reviews. That's all a part of it. And all of those items are also a part of the WCFS review. Registration, registration approval, periodic conferences, live stream events, and in-office reviews. The academy, though, continues on with other services that are a part of the program. Specified testing, WCFS developed courses available, in-home reviews, professional consultations, specialty academic meetings, WCFS offered courses. WCF review is allowed to have those also, but those are an extra fee. And you can consult the little document here for other services as well. For registration, there's a basic, simple application, front and back, collecting general information by which to know your family and represent you. And then there's a commitment that you sign so that we know we're all on the same page with our goal. The back side of that is that page that explains the differences between the review program and the WCFS Academy program. Also, once you have enrolled, you will be needing to fill out a specific form to notify Maryland, the local county that you're in, that you are being reviewed under the Walkersville Christian program. And so that way we'll represent you when it relates to the states, and you don't have to turn anything into the state yourself. Also, in your application packet, we do ask that you go ahead and, for each child, 1, 2, however many children you have, fill out one of these course registration forms by which we can perceive what you're planning on teaching your child and any particular information about those courses. And that'll be this form that we use when we do the regular thorough instruction review to just see how you're doing. So at this point, I want to say welcome, and I hope that we can be of service to you in the days ahead. If you have any questions, feel free to call the office. And the school year begins officially day after Labor Day, and it ends the last Friday of May. God bless.